Thank you very much. Thank you for launching it. As you all can see, it is indeed a different report than from previous years. So you see here, you see there what happens when you click the link that you've seen throughout on the screen. This report this year is digital, it's interactive, and it has crowdsourced content from the various activities that have happened throughout the year. It's a report where you can, while you're taking your photos, I'll quickly show you on the big screen what happens if you look around the report. It is a report that has taken us through years of collecting content around innovations. It's a way where you can explore the different innovations like the one we've heard today about the hand washing station and the difference it can make in the lives of children. So here you can see you can go to different innovations, and finally we would like all of this to really encourage us to map our own innovations, to be part of the innovations map.
Online websites. My question is that even if we go far into the remote places, there is pathetic stories. But we living in the capital, national capital, we find there are three types of school. One is the municipal school, the other is Delhi administration school, and the third is the central government school known as Kendriya Vidyalayas. Now in all the three schools, the overall hygienic conditions is also very pathetic. And I don't feel that the UNICEF duty is there, but you can create an awareness campaign because even the children are asked to sweep the floors. So some awareness camp is needed, and how far you can be successful in motivating these schools to be rather hygienic.
Thank you for your question, but if I could request you all to please keep your questions brief and not long-winded. Would you like to answer that question? Sorry?
I can just give the voice of parents to demand better schools and to demand better facilities. And I think that the collective voice of change is something that we can, as UNICEF, help to stimulate, and we can assist to promote. We partner by keeping in touch with what's happening in local communities, but also taking the lead from now we have guidelines, the government has guidelines, and these are available to local communities through the normal channels that outline very detailed descriptions of the technology options, of the costs, and of how you can get this inculcated in the school. But I have to say that we don't need just elaborate facilities. Hand washing can take place with a bucket and water. So for every situation, we can find a solution to get children involved. And we also know that once we have some sort of facility in place, the behaviour change starts to happen by itself.
I'm Rajiv Tandon from Action Contra el Fair, Action Against Hunger. And it's a very proud moment to see WASH with CRC, with the State of the World's Children report all come together. Just a request, we are aware of UNICEF's nodal ministry engagement and how it implements. It may be worthwhile, and this was a discussion, I was a part of when the Article 24 general comments were being discussed in CRC, where it was clearly recommended that it's an issue of social injustice. And we are saying that a lot of these things mentioned, whether it's through innovations or the word equity or lack of governance, etc., it may be useful to actually have UNICEF engage with the Ministry of Social Justice in a much more broader and appropriate way to look at issues of, and it was nice to see CMAM mentioned. And I'm engaged in the whole debate with regard to active acute malnutrition. So just a recommendation that it may be worthwhile for Louis to take this up with the Minister of Social Justice, who's very keen to look at these issues.
Well, I can say just two things in terms of disability. Definitely, there is a lot of space in the country to make school more friendly for people with disability. There's no doubt on that. There's many discussions going on, and we are pushing into at the advocacy level to have legislation that will help. But also, there has to be a discussion which is beyond our. It's beyond our capacity. There has to be a discussion also of the mindset and the acceptability of disability in the school, and also the infrastructure has to be also accommodated to welcome more disabled children in school. So this is an area that requires a lot of discussion. With regard to the employability of young people out of school, after finishing school, this is something that is being discussed right now in many quarters, and it was central to a discussion that took place at the World Economic Forum 3 weeks ago in Delhi. And this is something that is happening to a certain extent, but there's much to be done in bringing the private sector, government, and schools, and looking at the skills that will be necessary and line up what is being learned in schools to what the market is requiring. So I don't want to spend a long time on this, but there's something that to be said about to bring these two together in a much comprehensive way. And I think you point very well with the issue of social justice. And we are broadening right now. For the last 6 months, we are broadening also the number of ministries which we are working with in the context.
One soap is used by 10 children out there. How is that washed away?
It's being washed. I mean, I'm sure that there is a scientific reason why we're using soap. And soap itself is a disinfectant, isn't it? So whether one soap is being used by 10 or 5, it the germ doesn't remain on the soap. It's being washed away.
But then there are advertisements saying the same soap cannot be used by 10 other.
You're using one soap in your family also. One family is using one soap, or are individual soaps being used? So it's not. I don't think that there are germs left on the soap for people to use.
हमारे यहाँ पानी भी नहीं है हाथ धुलने के लिए, तो हम हाथ कैसे धुलेंगे? पानी का यहाँ खाना भी नहीं है, तो बच्चे बहुत बीमार पड़ते हैं। हैंडवॉश कुछ नहीं है हमारे स्कूल में, तो हम इसके लिए किसकी हेल्प लेना चाहेंगे?
There isn't a magic bullet to do this, but what we're finding from what's going on in the various schools is that with the smallest amount of water, so under 25 litres, under a jerry can of water, hand washing can take place with almost 100 children. So even where school, water is not readily yet in the school, communities are finding ways for parents to bring water in or teachers to bring water in so that we can begin to see this happen.
वो कह रहे हैं कि बहुत ज़्यादा पानी की ज़रूरत नहीं है, और जहाँ जिन स्कूलों में पानी की सहूलियत नहीं है, वो कह रहे हैं कि 25 लीटर पानी भी अगर मिल जाए, एक जेरिकन पानी अगर मिल जाए, चाहे वो घर से लाएं या आपके पेरेंट्स कंट्रीब्यूट करें या टीचर्स लेके आएं, तो उसी माध्यम से काफ़ी बच्चों के हाथ धुल जाएंगे। पर वो जो है वो स्कूलों के साथ बातें हो रही हैं, बातचीत हो रही है, और वो आस्ता करके आपके स्कूल तक शायद पहुँचे।
Hi, Pradeep Sir here from Telecast newspaper. Panel, when you were actually, talking about the innovation for children and different rights, in India, when you're talking about innovation, I'm completely surprised. In India, maximum children don't have right to speak, right to explain, or rights to express their choice or their demands or whatever they want to do. How UNICEF can help them, how to at least come out, at least speak, at least express themselves.
It's a very simple but complex question. But I think one of the areas that, beyond the fact that there's a mindset in terms of relationship between the parents and the children, which is complex in every society, but the idea of keep having children staying in school until the age of 18 to be able to complete 12 years of reasonably good quality of education will go a long way in providing and giving empowerment to the children in households. And I think we have had some examples of this, where children are able to go to school, being public or private school. There is a relationship that also changes, and the example that you were giving of the NT coming to ask you that there is a relationship that the empowerment can take place also in school, beyond the fact that there has to be a conversation with communities in terms of how we engage differently from empowering the children. And I think one of the key areas for us beyond education is the empowerment of adolescents, which can trickle down to the younger generations.
I
I think we've seen indeed, as Louis said, the examples of Nine is Mine, of a structure in a school with an ex-prime minister who's been very articulate. But I think it's also a question we would like to throw back to the media, because a lot of it has to do also how children who speak out are being profiled and get the space in the media. So that's really important to have a partnership with all these, with Nine is Mine, ourselves, and many of the other actors, with the media to make sure that there's a different way of profiling children and adolescents in the media as actually very active citizens who have a voice, and their voice should count.